Hello again, I am Bloody. In today's video, we're going to take a look at frame rate, performance, and such whatnot on the Monster Hunter Rise demo on Nintendo Switch. And it is a Nintendo Switch exclusive title, which has rubbed some people the wrong way. I'll be looking at single-player performance, I'll be looking at multiplayer performance, but before we get there, I want to talk about the bitterness that's in certain little corners of the Monster Hunter communities that I found sort of exploring sort of different opinions from veteran players, because I'm not a veteran Monster Hunter player. A small sort of section out there that are quite upset that it is a Nintendo Switch exclusive title. There are rumors and leaks and reports, by the way, that this might not be the case. It might not stay a console exclusive on the Nintendo Switch, but we'll get to that in a moment. But the people whining about it being a Nintendo Switch exclusive, for a start, it's hardly the first time a Monster Hunter game has been on a Nintendo platform exclusive. It started out on the PlayStation, and it's been very popular on the PlayStation throughout the years, and as the community stands today, if you're playing Monster Hunter on a console, chances are you're playing it on the PlayStation 4. It's out on the Xbox as well, but I take it from me, one of my best mates plays it on the Xbox, and when she streams it, she has quite a difficult time finding multiplayer friends because everyone else playing on console is on the PlayStation, and there's no cross-platform compatibility there. But if you're not on console, PlayStation, you're probably on PC. So that's where most of the community is sitting right now. So some of them are a bit perturbed that the new game is Nintendo Switch exclusive. Why these people, to this day and age, at 4 years into the Switch's lifespan, it's more than demonstrated itself as an extremely good console with a wonderful range of games. Why they haven't invested in one yet, I will never know. It's their fault as far as I'm concerned. But beneath the flag of, it's stuck on the Switch, because the Switch is the least powerful console hardware that's currently on the market, of course, so come the complaints about frame rate. I was in a very popular streamer's stream the other day when they were streaming the demo, and their chat was full of people either memeing or trolling or being serious about whining about the frame rate. It's 15 FPS, it's 25 FPS, the frame rate looks bad. I think all that's just mostly about them being mad that it's not exclusive to their console, exclusive to a different console. They want someone else to miss out, they don't want to miss out themselves. Standard console fanboyism, just stupidity, basically. Have to assume they're trolling because the frame rate doesn't look bad, it looks pretty good. In fact, let's have a look. So, first off, let's keep in mind that this is a demo, and we're still a couple of months away from the release, and as such, last-minute work on the game is still happening, development is still happening, they're actively changing things as I record this and as you watch this, but this demo would have been made with code that's even slightly further back in development, so they could sort of nail down something stable that isn't forever changing day to day to make the demo in the first place. That's how demos work pre-release. So, things can easily change, including, hopefully, the compromises they're making in render resolution in order to reach their targeted 30 FPS, because, well, the game's not what you call sharp. In motion, you'll frankly not notice as much. The game is more about the dynamicism of the combat and how good the monsters look and everything, and in particular their animations and whatnot. But to my cursory eye, I'd estimate that we're looking at a docked resolution of somewhere between 720 and 840-ish. It's absolutely not native 1080p anyway. But at least the UI is native 1080p, so all the icons and text and stuff is nice and crisp, which is handy. I haven't taken a very deep poke at portable modes yet, but it does play quite nicely on portable, and at a glance it feels like it's running smoother as well. And with that little 720p screen, the small size and lower resolution makes the rendering resolutions slightly less noticeable than playing on a big screen. Aside from all of that, as you've been seeing here in the single-player gameplay, it's pretty clear that they're using basic VSync techniques to nail it down to 30 FPS as best they can. Someone asked me about performance in an earlier video I made detailing a really weird bug that causes massive stuttering in multiplayer mode, and how to fix that bug, by the way, and I told them it looked like it was mostly 30 FPS, but felt like it wasn't quite locked there. In fact, I estimated it drops to no less than 27 FPS, because it just didn't feel perfect 30. It looked to my eye basically seamless, but it didn't feel quite right. And it turns out what I was sensing there wasn't a drop, it was actually going slightly above 30. It was actually the mildly infrequent frame time fluctuations that come along with certain implementations of the VSync techniques. So the game internally is actually doing slightly better than 30 FPS and just grabs the most recent completed frame. And this, of course, is the ideal way to do a VSync game. You want to have too many frames rather than not enough. That way you're pretty much guaranteed to always stick to that 30 as best you can. But in at least one test I tried while I was setting up these performance demos and the charts and such, it seems I hit some sort of weird bug again, where the frame rate lock in multiplayer became unlocked as VSync failed somehow. And in that, I actually saw 40 to 45 FPS spikes. But that's not intended behavior, of course. I've seen some folks suggest this failure of the framerate lock also happened in the stutter bug I was talking about, but my recordings of that happening are highly compressed from my live stream, so I can't use the framerate tool on them reliably, and of course now that I've fixed that bug, I can't recreate that bug to test it properly, so I'll just have to take other people's word for it, which on the internet is, well... Right about now, it's going to occur to some of you out there that the reports we saw that went around late last year of Nintendo telling game devs to make their games 4K ready, allegedly, or otherwise expect a so-called Switch Pro on the horizon. So maybe the sloppy implementation of a framerate lock and the game internally capable of running at up to 45 FPS on docked stock hardware, it might promise a 60 FPS lock on some more powerful upgrade of the Switch. It'd be nice, like I said, games like this in which many weapon and gameplay styles rely heavily on precise input timings for higher level play, well, they're always nicer at 60. Of course they are. It's just physics. Then there was also the Monster Hunter Rise related documents that came out of the data breach hack that Capcom suffered last year, which indicated that a PC version of Monster Hunter Rise would be on the way in 9 to 12 months' time after the Switch release. These documents specifically stated to not target and lock the game at 1080p docked or 720p handheld for the Switch, and to allow for output to any resolution. These documents also spent time discussing framerate limits, suggesting that the devs allow a 30 FPS limit, a 60 FPS limit, a free fluctuating uncapped framerate, and a note indicating to expect the incoming range of 240Hz gaming monitors about to be announced at CES and such, including using variable refresh rate technology modes for like G-Sync and FreeSync, and it talks about keybinds and mouse input and graphics fine-tuning options, shadow quality settings, texture filtering, and even ultra-widescreen support. And you don't send memos around like that unless you're already making the game PC ready, which also means there's high resolutions of the game's assets ready for PC, possibly a Switch Pro version, or whatever the inevitable hardware revision the Nintendo Switch gets called. But I think it's clear, what we're already seeing in the demo version, coming back to the Switch version, it's pretty clear that we should expect these VSync wibbles to be ironed out in the release version. Again, we're working on older code than they're currently working on. There's still another 2.5 months to go before the game actually gets released in the first place. So this is a very promising start. The game looks great. The game feels great. The resolution does bother me a bit, but the animations and the designs and stuff, they're all gorgeous. Just classic, beautiful Capcom work on the Monster Hunter series. It always looks fantastic. Even the crappiest ones on the 3DS ones, where it's super low resolution and everything, even then the animations and everything look wonderful. And it's about that dynamicism of the combat as I was talking about. So, you know, the slightly lower resolution, I'd love it to be 1080p. Of course I would. Who wouldn't? Love to be able to play it in 4K when the PC version comes out. You bet your ass I will. But it doesn't break the game, having those less than native resolutions happen. I'm much more concerned about nailing that frame rate all the way down so that high-level play that requires very precise input timings can just happen lovely, and nobody gets frustrated and angry at a video game and rages on Reddit or something. A man can dream. But yeah, very promising so far performance-wise. Outside of performance-wise, I've been absolutely loving the game. I am so excited, and I'm excited to be excited about a Monster Hunter game as well, because I kind of bounced off Monster Hunter World to put 20 or 30 hours in it. It was just like, no. It was such a struggle to push through that game. People kept telling me, oh, it gets fun, it gets fun. It didn't get fun. This thing is fun already. In a limited demo where there's only a couple of different monsters to fight and limited range of weapons and no upgrade options or anything like that. It's already fun. So I'm very excited about that. And in fact, I have already decided to buy the game when it comes out. In fact, I've already pre-ordered it. And I know the helm of buyer's remorse when it comes to pre-orders is sitting there staring at the back of my head for my Fallout 76 Ultimate Collector's Edition pre-order. I've just pre-ordered the regular edition of the game. So, but yeah, that thing judges me. Every time I pre-order a game, it judges me. Stares at me with its dead eyes. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope this was interesting or useful to you. If you haven't tried the demo out, I very much highly recommend you try the demo out as soon as possible, because it is a limited time thing, and the multiplayer functionality is going away within a few weeks, I think. But yeah, check it out. And also, of course, thank you, as always, to the Patreon scrolling up above my head there at this point in the video. You guys go above and beyond for supporting the channel, and I love you for it. Thank you ever so much. But I am Blanty. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you next time.